Welcome back to the NSAA Class B State Championship game on Ole Red 99.5. Thank you for joining us. This game is brought to you by Creative Surfaces, your countertop specialists of Beatrice, Clausen & Sons Dirtwork of Beatrice. Complete Insurance is proud to support the Norris Titans and Titan Nutrition in downtown Hickman. Norris has a 5-1 lead heading into the fourth inning. So we're starting to get into the middle innings here of this state championship game. This is where it really starts getting tricky for these pitchers. Colton Homolka has had a pretty good start to the game. 1 strikeout, no walks, giving up a few base hits, 4 to be exact, giving up a run as well. But he's been pretty good. But the guy on the other side of things, Trevor Cox, after giving up 5 runs in the first, now has 4 strikeouts and is really starting to ring him up and put him down. Carson Herman leads things off for Gretna East here in the top of the fourth. Takes a curveball up high for ball 1. Herman flew out to left field back in the first inning, which capped off an inning in which Gretna East left a runner stranded on third base, I should say. Second pitch inside, 2-0 is the count. Herman did have 2 hits against Blair on Wednesday. Check swing by Herman. He didn't go around. 3-0 count here immediately. Homolka's not thrown a walk yet in this game up to this point. The pitch in there for strike 1. 3-1 hitters count here for Carson Herman, who didn't even try like he was going to swing at that one. 3-1. High up. And a 5-pitch walk for Homolka to lead off the fourth. First walk of the game thrown by Colton Homolka, who's been pretty good so far out there on the mound. He'll go up against Kieran Boswell now, who grounded out to second base back to lead off the second inning for the Griffins of Gretna East. Well, Norris this is their 6th state championship game in 11 years. Their 7th appearance in their 13 years that they've made it straight. Their 7th in the 14 years they've made it straight. Pitch up high, ball 1. Norris is accustomed to making these title games. They've made it to 5 championship games in 10 years and lost all of them. They'll be hoping they can flip the switch here this year. And like Sean Bartholomew said in the interview, he'll be hoping that they can bring home different color silverware this year, gold, as the champions. This pitch fouled down the left field line and foul. 1-1 is the count with no outs. Runner on first base, top of the fourth inning. Norris up 5-1 over Gretna East as we get another one of those wind gusts that will be blowing from right to left, so any ball hit out to left field is dangerous. They check on the runner at first. He's in there safely. A lot of the guys on these teams are righties, and it's going to be interesting because they will pull some of these out to left field, and with the way the wind's blowing, it could produce some home runs. Showing bunt was Boswell, who's the next one up. He took one down in the dirt. It's 2-1. Kieran Boswell, the right fielder, has had a few Norris hits drop in front of him the first 3 innings. 2 balls, 1 strike. That pitch just a tad low. 3-1. Homolka starting to struggle a little bit finding the strike zone, something that we saw earlier on with Trevor Cox, but things have seemed to flip for both pitchers. Homolka was doing a phenomenal job in the first 2 innings. Now he's starting to struggle to find the strike zone. Cox was the other way around. Showing bunt and then taking ball outside for ball 4 is Boswell. Back-to-back walks. I think we might need a mound visit here from Sean Bartholomew. Yeah, he's going to be coming out. Right as I say it, he comes out. Now, I'm sure Homolka will not be taken out of the game. I think this is just Bartholomew coming out to calm him down on the mound. He's thrown 2 straight walks after not throwing any walks here through the first 3 innings on the mound. Now, I was talking to Coach Bartholomew yesterday in their day off. They just had a little bit of hitting practice, a little bit of fielding practice, short practice, nothing too much. He said that they were going to get to the stadium today at about 1 p.m., so they would have had to have left at around 11 a.m. So not too much yesterday. He tried to keep it light. He wanted to keep his team ready but fresh. And he's done a pretty good job with them so far. They look ready to go. He just comes out there and calms down his pitcher, Colton Homolka, who's thrown 2 straight walks, both 5-pitch walks. He'll go up against the lefty, Jensen Albers, who got a single back in the second. This could get dangerous here for Norris. Runners on first and second with no outs for Gretna East. Norris up 4 runs. Showing bunt and bunting it foul is Albers. No balls and a strike. Still no outs. So glad to have you alongside here, Old Red 99.5's broadcast of the Class B State Championship game. Thank you for joining us. All right, so Alex Small calls time, then does a wide variety of different things with his arms to motion something to the infield here. Maybe they're expecting maybe a sacrifice bunt, maybe a potential for that. 0-1 is the count. Homolka trying to get things back in drive here. He's currently in neutral, it seems. The pitch. And showing bunt again, but taking a pitch up high for ball 1 is Albers. Gretna East just trying to advance their runners. Seems like that's the game plan right now from Coach Everhart, who has coached a few big-time teams in his day. The 1-1 showing bunt and taking a strike as it was kind of foul tipped into the glove there of Alex Small. 1-2 now. Doesn't seem like Albers is going to be able to bunt here on a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He might have to go for this one here. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs. The pitch from Homolka. As he winds up, checks on second, delivers it. Down in the dirt, goes past Alex Small, and that's going to be a wild pitch here, which will advance both runners 90 feet. That pitch just rang up in the dirt right in front of Alex Small, went right past him. That was enough to advance the runners. Herman from second to third, Boswell from first to second, and 2 runners in scoring position for Gretna East with no outs. 2 balls, 2 strikes here to Jensen Albers. Ground ball to second, picked up by Logan White, makes the throw to first. It's in time, but the runner from first base scores. It's Herman. And the runner from second advances to third. It's 5-2. Gretna East, slowly but surely, clawing into that 5-run deficit. But for Homolka's sake, there's 1 down. Tanner Erdkamp comes up to the plate. He grounded into a double play back in the second inning, which is not typically what he is accustomed to doing. He's had a great season here for Gretna. Or Gretna East, I should say. 12 hits so far, 203 batting average. Took one down low for a 1-0. Second pitch here inside. Erdkamp has to jump away from it. It's 2-0. Runner 90 feet away from home plate is Kieran Boswell. 2 balls, no strikes. Gretna East putting up a little bit of a run here after giving up 5 in the first. Slowly but surely. 2-0 count. Oh, wow, they checked on the runner at third. Colton Homolka is a righty, so he can see third base right in front of him. He did check on the runner. Krummuller tried to apply the tag, but getting back in there safely was Kieran Boswell. Here's the 2-0 count. Inside, laces the inside edge of the strike zone for a strike, 2-1. Could this be a situation as the hare doesn't win the race, the tortoise wins the race, not the hare, as Norris got out to a hare-like start with 5 runs in the first, then the tortoise in Gretna East is scoring 1 run per inning right now, trying to get back in this game. The pitch inside again, called strike, 2-2 with 1 out. The 2-2. Down low in the dirt, 3-2, full count. The scoreboard operator has still not updated the first out of the inning. I don't know what's going on in that room. But they've had a few scoreboard errors so far in this game. 3-2. Ground ball to short. Cale Fountain's got it. Picks it up. Rifles one to first. In time to his brother Bryce. But once again, scoring from third base is Kieran Boswell. And Gretna East has 2 runs here in the fourth. They do get the second out on a ground out to short. But it's 5-3. This is starting to get a little bit interesting here for Norris. They had a comfortable 5-0 lead in the first. But Gretna East has made it a 2-run game. As it's Colton Nicholson coming up. He hit a single back in the second inning, or excuse me, the third inning, scored a run as well. Fouls the first pitch off down the right field line. It's 0-1. Beautiful ballpark here, Werner Park. The 0-1 swung on and missed, 0-2. Homolka trying to get out of this one. He's given up 2 runs already, but he's trying to limit the damage here in the top of the fourth and keep Norris in front. No balls, 2 strikes. The pitch swung on and missed. Rung him up and sat him down. Homolka gets his second strikeout of the game, but Gretna East does get 2 runs scored, and it's 5-3 Norris as we go to the bottom of the fourth on Ole Red. Welcome back to Ole Red's coverage of the NSAA Class B State Championship game. Norris up 5-3 over Gretna East, heading into the bottom of the fourth inning. As this game is brought to you by Premier Chevrolet Buick GMC of Beatrice. Discover the premier difference, and Star Buco Insurance in Fairbury. I'm Kyle Mathas. Thank you for joining me on a beautiful mid-May day here up in Omaha, Nebraska. This is time for our fourth inning adjustment of the game, brought to you by Tatro Chiropractic in Fairbury and Deschler. What does Norris have to do differently? They've done a lot right. I just think one of the things that they can't start trending towards is leaving runners on. They struggled in the first 3 innings of the Wednesday game against Lincoln Northwest, leaving runners on. That's what Sean Bartholomew told me. He said that they struggled. They finally figured it out, though. They brought home runners in time, but they got to try to extend this lead. Gretna East is starting to find their rhythm. That's our fourth inning adjustment of the game, brought to you by Tatro Chiropractic in Fairbury and Deschler. Alex Small, the 9-hole hitter, leads things off for Norris and takes one just a tad below the kneecaps for ball 1. Alex Small got a single, but then was tagged out at second base after he made a base running mistake. Takes ball 2, down and away. 2-0 is the count. Unfortunately for Small, we saw something similar like that against the Lincoln Northwest game as he hits one straight to short. Nolan Green throws it across the diamond, and it goes right past Colton Nicholson and out of play. Alex Small is going to get a ground rule double technically, and he's on second base to lead things off for Norris, and he's going to come out of the game, and he's going to be replaced by a pinch runner, which is going to be Kai Sengena. Let's see. Kai Sengena came in to pinch run a few times back in the Lincoln Northwest game. He did have a stolen base in that game, so don't count out that from Gaina, who comes in to pinch run for Alex Small at second base. Here is Logan Michael, the leadoff man in the order for Norris, coming up to bat with a runner on second. No outs and a 5-3 Norris lead. Trevor Cox is still out there on the mound, by the way. Showing bunt is a Michael. First pitch up high and away, 1-0 is the count. So Michael's going to try to bunt here to advance the runner to third so that Norris can bring up Cale Fountain, and Cale Fountain have a runner 90 feet away from home plate. 1-0 count. And stepping off the mound is Trevor Cox before he could pitch, and fakes the throw to Kyson Gaina, basically saying, hey, I'm watching you, man. Don't try to make any sudden movements. I'm sure Gaina won't be listening to that. The 1-0 count. Showing bunt again is Michael. Grounds one on a bunt to Trevor Cox. It goes right past Trevor Cox. And it's not going to be a play to be made. It's a bunt by Logan Michael. And he's to first base. The third is Kyson Gaina. And there's no outs. Runners on the corners for Norris. Absolutely incredible piece of bunting by Logan Michael, who bunted it right over to the right of Trevor Cox. And Trevor Cox just could not get to it in time. It rolled right by him, and nobody was there for Gretna East. Sean Bartholomew has a conversation here with Cale Fountain, his star player to play at LSU in just a few months. The righty has a chance to bring home some more runs here. Cale Fountain is 1 for 2 in the game, has a single and flew out to third base. First pitch swung on deep into center field, and Jensen Albert is going to make the catch. But tagging and scoring from third base is going to be Kyson Gaina, and Norris gets another run. 6-3 Titans. Now Cale Fountain doesn't get on base, but he does the job. Sacrifice fly out to center field. 6-3. Norris. So here's Jordan Monroe with one out here. Runner still on first base is Logan Michael. He could not advance to second. They're going to check on Michael at first. He's in there safely. Bottom of the fourth inning, 6-3 Norris leads it over Gretna East. Winner takes all in the title game. First pitch, beautiful pitch to the lefty, Monroe. In there for strike one, 0-1. Now let's see if Logan Michael ends up trying to steal a base here. Does have a lot of stolen bases this season. They check on Michael. Well, it's safe to say Trevor Cox is very cognizant of Logan Michael's presence at first base. He's not going to let him just sit there and just be able to do anything he wants. Michael only has one stolen base this season. 0-1 is the count. Trevor Cox with 4 strikeouts. The pitch down in the dirt, skips up. Good block though by the catcher Carson Herman. But it's 2-0. Okay, so I thought it was a 1-0 count there. That just skipped up off the dirt to make it 2-2, and the scoreboard says a 1-1. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. As they check on the runner at first, I don't really know what's going on in that scoreboard room. Really have no idea. I'm looking over at it right now. Looks like nobody's talking to one another, so they should be focused on the game, but it should be a 2-0 count right now. Instead, it's 1-1. So I would say 2 balls and no strikes. That pitch in there for strike one. Now it's 1-1. Oh, this is going to be a tough break here for Jordan Monroe. The scoreboard says 1-2. Should be 2-1 though. I guess we'll just go off the scoreboard here. So 1-2 is what the scoreboard says. So next strike would be a strikeout. 1-2, fouled off. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Absolutely gorgeous day after a couple showers and a few rainstorms earlier on in the week, which delayed some of the games earlier on in the week, including Wednesday. Here's 1-2. Swing and a miss. So he got him down. It's a strikeout. Either way, it would have been a 2-2 count anyways. So Monroe strikes out for the first time. And Trevor Cox is up to his 5th strikeout of the game. Here's Crew Molnar up. I was going to say on Wednesday it did rain before the Gretna East game. That game was delayed by a little bit in that Gretna East versus Blair game because of the thunderstorms in Omaha, which also saw the state track meet be postponed a little bit on Wednesday. First pitch outside to Moeller, outside for a ball, 1-0. Logan Michael still on first. Moeller to the plate with Logan White on deck if he can come up. 2 down. 6-3 Norris leads it over Gretna East, bottom of the 4th. Still a lot of time left in this ball game. Check swing in there, though, for strike one, 1-1. Great piece of pitching here by Trevor Cox. He's really, really done a phenomenal job. He checks on Logan Michael at first, and he's checked on him now 5 times in this inning since Michael's reached. Michael's over there clapping as though he's getting into the head of Trevor Cox, the pitcher. The 1-1 as Cox checks on him for the 6th time this inning. 2nd time in a row. Now, Trevor Cox, you can't blame him because he is a righty, so he isn't facing first base. He can't see what Logan Michael's doing. Here's the 1-1. Oh, that one's cracked, but fouled on the left. Now the third base foul line. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This could be a big out here for Gretna East to limit the damage to just 1 run here in this bottom of the 4th for Norris. Gretna East fans starting to clap. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch, high for ball 2. 2-2, 2 outs. Runner on first. The Crew Moeller and the Gretna East fans will do it again. They'll start clapping. Try to will Trevor Cox on to his 6th strikeout. Down in the dirt. Good check there from Crew Moeller. Full count for Crew Moeller. Trying to bring up Logan White, who's on deck. 3-2. And the pitch. Grounded foul, and Sean Bartholomew makes an acrobatic dive out of the way to make sure he didn't get hit by that one. Still a 3-2 count. Three balls, two strikes. Moeller now started as the pitcher on Monday against Waverly. Did a great job in that game. 3-2. Moeller, high fly ball out to center field. Jensen Albers has a read on it and makes the catch for the final out. But Norris does get a great run, courtesy of a sacrifice fly by Cale Fountain to score. Kyson Gaina from third base off of Alex Small's ground rule double. Norris scores a run here in the bottom of the fourth. We head to the top of the fifth. Norris up 6-3 over Gretna East in the championship game on All Red. All right, welcome back to the top of the fifth inning on All Red. And brought to you by Titan Nutrition in downtown Hickman, Western United Mutual Insurance Home Office in Wilbur, Match Express Food Shop in Oil, your Sinclair Gas and Diesel stations in Fairbury, Husker Rehab in Fairbury, Beatrice Lincoln in Nebraska City, and Complete Insurance is proud to support the Norris Titans. And we've been with Norris their entire run here through the state tournament. Man, it's been a blast. Norris has not lost yet. And they've beat some good teams here. Lincoln Northwest, Waverly, and then Lincoln Northwest again on their road here. Gretna East also hasn't lost in the state tournament yet. They've beaten Plattsmouth on a walk-off, Elkhorn North, the defending champions, and then Blair. Seth Kragel, to lead things off for Gretna East, takes a strike at the knees, 0-1. Second pitch down and away, 1-1. Kragel hit a sacrifice bunt back in the third inning. That was his only at-bat. Next pitch, grounded and fouled on the third baseline. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and a 6-3 Norris lead, trying to win their first state championship in 11 years. Gretna East, meanwhile, trying to win their first state championship in program history in their first year as a school. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On the way. Oh, that's a wonder. Beautiful pitch, dropped by Alex Small, so he'll have to throw it to first in time. That's a strikeout, though, by Homolka. A wonderful curveball, got in there for the strikeout, and it caught Kragel looking. Third strikeout of the game by Colton Homolka, and there's one down here in the fifth. Well, now this is going to be an interesting at-bat. Tyler Cox, who is the leadoff man in the order for Gretna East, comes up to the plate. He's 2 for 2 in the game, has hit 2 singles. I'm sure Homolka will have that in the back of his mind. And Tyler Cox goes after the first one and fouls it off into the stands. Over there by the Gretna East student section, which has actually come out and showed up in full numbers here. I mean, just a town of about nearly 10,000 has shown up. The 0-1, grounded. Cale Fountain gets right past him. And that's a third single of the game by Tyler Cox. He is playing out of his mind right now for Gretna East. 3 base hits on 3 at-bats. And Cale Fountain went right by him to his left. He tried to dive for it. Didn't have a long enough wingspan. And here's Easton Leahy, the designated hitter. He has been quite the role player, I should say, in this game. Sacrifice bunt back in the first inning, and then sacrifice fly in the third inning. So he does have an RBI in this game. He comes up with a runner on first base, so will we see him sacrifice bunt again? He took a ball up high, so it's 1-0. Now he's going to try to swing at this one, and he grounds it foul. 1-1. These teams are on quite the winning streaks here. Gretna East started the season as a program 10-0. Lost a few games here and there, but they've won 8 of their last 10. Meanwhile, Norris started the season 1-2. Since then, though, they're 22-25. High pitch over the glove of Alex Small. It's going to be a wild pitch here for Homolka, and Tyler Cox is suddenly in scoring position at second base. Colton Homolka had a great start to the game. He's still having an incredible game, but that's the second wild pitch in as many innings. 2-1 is the count to Leahy. The pitch, high and inside. 3-1 hitters count for Easton Leahy. And Easton Leahy, batting .338, has 22 hits and 22 RBIs. Looking for his 23rd if he can bring home Tyler Cox from second base. The 3-1. Down and outside, a wild pitch again for Homolka. It's going to be a walk here for Leahy, but advancing to third base is Tyler Cox after another wild pitch. And there's 2 on, runners on the corners with 1 out. 3 wild pitches in 2 innings, and here comes Sean Bartholomew walking out to the mound. Will this be the last that we'll see from Colton Homolka? Let's see here. He's going to point towards the bullpen and wave wave the pitcher warming up into the game. And I think the pitcher out there right now is confused on where to go. They haven't played at a stadium like this yet. Well, Colton Homolka's day is done. Goes 4 1/3. And in the game, he gives up 4 singles, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 3 wild pitches. His day is done. We'll let the new pitcher for Norris warm up, and we'll be back after this with a new pitcher on the mound for the Titans. 6-3 Norris leads it over Gretna East with 1 out in the top of the 5th and runners on the corners for Gretna East. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to this broadcast on Ole Red 99.5. New pitcher in the game for Norris after the starter, and Colton Homolka pitches 4 1/3 with 3 strikeouts, 3 wild pitches, 2 walks, and 4 singles given up. 3 runs given up as well. His day is done. Porter Dutter comes into the game for Norris. He did pitch on Monday, came in for relief for Crew Muller, and ended up going 4 innings with a strikeout. Only allowed 1 run while he was on the mound. And his kid is a stud. Absolute stud here for Norris. Porter Dutter is 4-1-1 on the season, has an ERA of .44, less than a 1 ERA. And whenever a high school pitcher can have a less than 1 ERA, that's a good sign. And Porter Dutter's one of those guys. Pitched against Waverly, like I said, on Monday. One of the things that Sean Bartholomew told me while I was talking to him prior to the game was it's good that Norris won that first game against Lincoln Northwest and they didn't have to go 2 games on Wednesday because they could give Porter Dutter and other guys like that rest for this game. And Porter Dutter got rest, didn't play on Wednesday, played on Monday, but he looks like he's ready to go. And he'll be going up in a tough situation. He did come into the game, by the way, with runners on first and second for Waverly with only 1 out. He did come into the game on Monday like that, but he didn't make it out of the inning with no runs allowed. So see if he can do it again. He's got runners on the corners for Gretna East with only 1 out. And he is going to have a tall task ahead of him as he's going up against Nolan Green, who was 0 for 2 in the game, grounded out to second base in the first inning, struck out in the third. Let's see what Porter Dutter has in his arsenal. Sean Bartholomew, before he went to the dugout, gave him a good old pat on the arm, probably indicating, I trust you, kid. Get out there and get the job done. Let's go and get through this inning with no runs allowed. First pitch. Showing bunt down in the dirt, but because he was down in the dirt and because Nolan Green went for it, it's a strike. 0-1. Nolan Green is showing bunt. How is that going to end up playing out? Will they go to home if the bunt is applied, or will they go to first and allow the run to score? Showing bunt again, pitch outside from Dutter, 1-1. I bet if it's close enough to Dutter, they'll probably go to the plate. I bet if it's too far away from Dutter and he's got to make a tough play, they'll go to first. And they'll let the run score from third. And a 6-3 Norris lead. The 1-1. Oh, just a tad above the belt for ball 2. Gretna fans cheering about that one. Gretna East fans, Norris fans, I wouldn't say that they're the most pleased about that call. 2 balls and a strike with 1 out. The pitch. High pitch, stealing second base. Throw from Alex Small over the head of Cale Fountain at second. That's a mistake from Alex Small. It'll score a run. It'll be an error on the catcher, an E2, which scores Tyler Cox, and suddenly it's 6-4. Norris advancing to second base, by the way, is Easton Leahy. He was trying to steal it. I think it will go down as a stolen base for Leahy. He'll be on second. 3-1 count here for Dutter. delivering it to Nolan Green. On the way. Down and away. It's a walk. Well, when Norris went up 5-0 back in the first, I'm sure a lot of you were wondering, is Norris going to cruise through this game? Well, I mean, it's a state championship game. I don't think anybody should be surprised that this is becoming quite the close game here. After a 5-0 Norris lead, Gretna East has outscored the Titans in the next 4 innings, 4-1. And they've made it a 2-run ball game with 2 on with only 1 out. First pitch laced the outside edge of the strike zone. It's 0-1 to Carson Herman, who is 0 for 1 in the game, flew out to left field, but also drew a walk and scored a run back in the 4th. 0-1. Oh, what a pitch. Swing and a miss there by Herman. Dutter with an incredible off-speed curveball. And he's up 0-2 in the count. Now, I think a strikeout go a long way here for Porter Dutter. See if he can deliver. Infield playing a little bit in, expecting maybe a sacrifice bunt. But it's 0-2. The pitch. Down in the dirt, skips away from Small. And Small is lucky to get to that in time. Runners do not advance. So they stay on first and second with 1 down and a 6-4 Norris lead. One ball, 2 strikes. Sun completely bathing the infield. Pitch down low, 2-2. The sun completely over, like I said, the entire field, but sooner or later as the sun begins to set, the shadow will start to come over the field. It'll start from home plate and it'll go outfield. 2-2, the pitch. That's cracked into left center, and this one's going to drop. It's going to be extra bases. Rounding third and scoring from second base is Easton Leahy. Coming from first base in scoring is Nolan Green. Gretna East, against all odds, has tied this game. And all of a sudden, Norris are on the back foot. Nolan Green scores from first. Easton Leahy scores from second. Carson Herman with a 2-run RBI triple. He stands on third base as the leading run for Gretna East. And here comes Karen Boswell. 0 for 1 on the day, but drew a walk and scored a run back in the 4th. Porter Dutter allowed 1 run in 4 innings pitched on Monday against Waverly. He's given up 2 runs here against Gretna East today. Here's Karen Boswell to the plate. First pitch, curveball in there, strike 1. 6-6, what a ball game. And I think this is going to be very similar to that Lincoln Northwest nail-biter on Wednesday, that 4-3 win for Norris. The 0-1. Oh, swung on a miss. Great off-speed pitch by Dutter. 0-2 is the count. The last time these two teams met, all the way back in late April, Norris got the better of Gretna East on the road with a 10-3 win. This is a lot closer of a game, which is kind of what we expected. No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Check swing down in the dirt. He didn't go. It's funny, Crew Muller over at third base is pointing towards the first base umpire, trying to get him to check if he swung or not, and the umpire just kind of casually did the safe signal, implying that he didn't go around. I think the entire stadium realized that, but Muller just wanted to double check. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Down in third again, skips up, 2-2. Gretna East fans, the loudest they've been today, haven't had much to cheer for, but they've scored 2 runs in the 4th and 3 so far in the 5th, and they've tied the game at 6. They've outscored Norris since the first inning 6-1, and it's a 6-6 ball game. The 2-2, ground ball, short roller, straight back to Dutter. He makes the throw to first. In time, the play is made. Staying at third base is Herman, and there's 2 down. The game is still tied. Great heads-up play by Dutter. It was a slow roller off the end of the bat, straight back to Dutter, but he had to make a tough play running from the mound. And he made that throw accurately to Bryce Fountain. 2 outs, Jensen Albers is 1 for 2 today. A single in the second. Grounded out to second in the fourth. Has a runner 90 feet away. Trying to give Gretna East the lead. First pitch. Outside to the lefty and ball one. Jensen Albers this season, 12 RBIs. Looking for number 13 if he can bring home. Carson Herman standing at third. 1 ball, no strikes. The pitch. Check swing. Didn't matter, though. It was in there for a strike. 1-1. Now, this is situations where legends are made. Porter Dutter has had a tough inning ever since coming in, but can he get out of it with only 3 runs allowed and at least give his team a tie ball game heading to the bottom of the fifth? That pitch is a beautiful one, just above the knees. 1-2. Norris fans rising to their feet, hoping that they can get a strikeout here. Fans starting to clap, hoping for a strikeout. 1-2 is the count, 2 outs. On the way, swing and a miss. Massive strikeout by Porter Dutter to end the inning. But the fans on their feet for Gretna East as they've tied the game, scoring 3 runs in the fifth. And we're all level at 6 apiece in the state championship game. Stay tuned for more action between Norris and Gretna East on All Red. All right, thank you, Jake, for that update. State track going on all day. We'll have hourly updates at the top of each hour, or at least when we can get to it with this baseball game going on. Quite the game we got going on here. 6-6, bottom of the fifth is underway. Pitch inside, ball one. Logan White leads things off. So it'd be Logan White, Brody Hoover, John Hood. The 3 batters that would come up at least in this inning. Takes 2 balls, 1 inside, 1 down in the dirt. 2-0 is the count. Trevor Cox still out on the mound. 5 strikeouts in this game. Had an atrocious first inning, giving up 5 runs. Since then, though, he's been really good. Two balls, no strikes. Hoover's on deck. Logan White in this game is 1 for 2. Takes 1 at the knees, makes it 2-1. Logan White in this game hit a double, a 1-run RBI double in the first, scored a run, then struck out in the third. The 2-1. Oh, just a tad outside. 3-1, excuse me. That one looked good. Cannot deny that. But umpire didn't see it. So taking his time here is Trevor Cox, maybe trying to get in the head here of Logan White. This is, we've already had a walk-off state championship moment in Class C. That one's barely gets inside for strike 2, 3-2 full count. Malcolm walked off Mount Michael Benedictine in Class C championship earlier on to win the title, back-to-back years. We see something similar in this one. The 3-2. Oh, he got him. He rung him up and sat him down. And he got him looking. Logan White, the first casualty for Norris here in the 5th inning. And there's 1 down as Trevor Cox gets his 6th strikeout of the ball game. 7 strikeouts against Plattsmouth. Trevor Cox last Saturday. Man, he had a rough start to the game. Really, really rough start, but oh my, as he really started to deliver. Pitch down on the dirt, 1-0 here to Brody Hoover. 1 for 2 in the game, got a single in the third, stole a base, struck out in the first. 1-0 count. Second pitch. Down and away, 2-0. One thing that I'm noticing as we get a mound visit here from Carson Herman, the catcher, maybe a little bit of miscommunication between him and his pitcher. But Trevor Cox went down and away a lot in those first 2 innings, and now he's starting to really attack the strike zone and power some of these pitches right by these Norris hitters with these fastballs. It's really a complete change in direction for Trevor Cox. Trevor Cox in this game has only thrown 1 walk and throws a strike in there for a 2-1 count. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. I think those are pretty good numbers. Here's the pitch. Oh, he got him right at the knees. 2-2. This kid is something special. Something special. He's uncommitted from a college yet, but I'm sure he'll commit in next year for sure. 2-2. The pitch. Oh, he got him. He got him again. Struck out Brody Hoover looking. And the 7th strikeout for Trevor Cox of the game. He's really starting to catch fire And Norris is going to have to get something from somebody here, some heroic moment. John Hood comes up to the plate, struck out twice in this game. Takes a curveball in there for strike one. This is starting to get dangerous for Norris, not only with Gretna East's offense, but with Trevor Cox on the mound looking for his third straight punch-out. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. He's down 0-2. Fans trying to will on Trevor Cox here. Gretna East fans getting loud. Sean Bartholomew said this is the largest crowd they play in all season. Takes one up high. Like I said, though, Sean Bartholomew said that they wouldn't play in a bigger crowd than this all year. They have to be locked in and ready. The 1-2. Skips up in the dirt, 2-2 with 2 outs and a 6-6 ball game. And this is scary because in the last 2 innings, Gretna East offensively has scored 5 runs. Or actually, they've scored 6 runs in the last 3 innings, so it's getting scary. This one's grounded straight to short. Nolan Green has trouble fielding it. A base hit for John Hood. This might actually be an error. And I think this will be the 3rd error of the game, and it will be an error. But John Hood is standing on first base with 2 outs. It's going to be an E6 as Nolan Green had trouble fielding the ball. 3rd error of the game for Gretna East. And Norris maybe has a little bit of a lifeline here in the 5th inning. And here comes Bryce Fountain. Bryce Fountain, Alex Small batting 8th and 9th in the order. They need something from these guys. They really, really delivered against Lincoln Northwest and Waverly on Wednesday and Monday. But they need something from these guys desperately. First pitch to Fountain, fouled off the back netting. It's 0-1. After this game, and then the game on Wednesday too, both of them close games. I'm sure all of you listening and all of the Norris fans have no nails left to bite. This is a very nerve-wracking affair here in these 2 games. The 0-1 pitch. Fountain takes one in, and strike 2 is called right at the knees. 0-2. Can Fountain deliver with his pink bat? Down 0-2 in the count. I don't see Trevor Cox checking on first base here. He'll go for this. The pitch. Fountain hits this one into shallow center field. Jensen Albers on the run. Can't make the catch. Going to third base. And rounding and coming home is John Hood. The throw is not in time. It's not in time. Norris takes the lead. Bryce Fountain with an RBI double. We knew that the bottom of the order would have to deliver for Norris, and they have. It landed right in front of Jensen Albers, the center fielder. He tried to dive to make the catch, couldn't make the catch, and that made the play tougher for him. And scoring from first base is John Hood, and Norris has reclaimed the lead at 7-6. What a ball game, though. What a ball game. They're actually going to call that an error. Wow. So they're not going to call that an RBI double. They're going to call that an error on the center fielder. That's a tough call there. As the first pitch is a strike to Alex Small, the 9-hole hitter. Small is 2 for 2 in this game. That's just a tough call for Jensen Albers. I don't think he made an error on that play. They're going to call it an E8, though. 0-1 is the count. Second pitch. My apologies. That actually kind of freaked me out. So that one was fouled over the net. I thought that was coming right at me. That freaked me out for a minute. I was going to have to make an incredible catch, but it landed right in front of me, unfortunately. I could have had a souvenir to bring home. But it's 0-2 in the count here to Alex Small. Wow, taking off and stealing third base and then getting thrown out at third. Wow, a very interesting call there for Bryce Fountain. He's caught stealing third base. Multiple running errors by Norris in this game so far might prove costly at the end of the day, but it's an E8 by the center fielder Jensen Albers, courtesy of Bryce Fountain. Brings home John Hood, and with 2 outs, Norris gets a run, and they take the lead 7-6, heading to the 6th inning. Don't go anywhere. Man, we have a great game on hand here in the Class B State Championships on All Red.